And oftentimes we do see like assassin versus assassin matchups, right? Sometimes we have these instances where a fighter jungler is an amazing way to deal with it. So we did see a lot of Potato back then, but ever since the nerf, we have kind of dwindled down on the amount of heroes that can actually go for the matchup. But it seems like the Philippines, they will take out the device and they are going to bring the Karina to the table.
Well, we keep talking about it, right? So eventually it will. Yeah, because my dad did say, if you keep saying something, then it will become true.
I'm going to get rich, and saying it a million times, will I get rich? Eventually, yes.
Eventually, eventually, you know. The world is fair and unfair at the same time. Right now, Philippines, they have shown they're the Karina pick, so they're pretty solid on all ends. They just haven't shown their roamer just yet.
All right.
It's gonna be pretty scary if they're gonna pair up the Karina with, let's say, an Estes or a Rafaela. Just anyone that can kill them very, very fast and then just invade. And right now, the Dairov as well as the Baras as well has been banned out a couple of times, but right now has been let through. I kind of want this Barat to go to the jungle, but we'll see what will happen.
Yeah, it is very possible as well. The Barat jungle is an okay, decent matchup against the Karina because this is gonna be a tank versus tank-ish jungler. But the only difference between the Barat as well as the Karina is that the Karina does have a little bit more mobility, whereas Barat is going to be leaning on the tanky side. So Team Philippines, they do have the claw, but final pick there, it is going to be lacking the roamer position. So it's something that they may need to go for. But okay, I'm a little bit surprised with the Lolita pickup, but I can see that the amount of shield stack on the Karina is going to help him out a little bit more in this passive ability. And the Numenor Blast is a great way to completely shut down, I would say, a 5-second standing dinosaur going for some meal. If that makes sense.
Sure. But yeah, I feel like
come on, okay? Get it? You know, 5 seconds.
Yes,
dinosaur.
I do. Anyways, I feel like the Lolita pick is very good just for the reason that number one has a very reliable stud in her first skill. So whenever the Karina actually does want to go in, she could just stun up anyone in front, and then the Karina is like, okay, you know what? You chose, and I'm just gonna follow up. Going there, get the kills, and then you know, like in the later stages of the game, if they do not know where the Lolita is, and then they're just gonna get surprised by the Numenor Blast. They're just like, I don't remember being this low before.
Yeah.
And then by the time you realize, it's too late.
It's very, very hard to actually predict as well, right? But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the match between Team Laos as well as Philippines, with Team Laos on the blue side and Philippines on the red side. This is going to be the third series for today, as we're going to be having more games to come, as all the nation's national teams are going to be battling it out. However, we do see the invades coming in right from the get-go, as Nano Ship looking to go in for the reset, but it seems like instead of going for the reset, he is going to go for the harassment. But the Lolita shields is going to keep him alive, and somehow they are going to be able to win in the trade-off from Team Philippines.
Yeah, overall, Villaluna has been very well, like managing to actually help secure the buff and managing to help your mid laner stay alive in just the first minute of the game has done so much. But now we have to see how it scales up, because we are looking at both the Karina as well as the Baras. How will they perform? Which one is actually going to have a clear-cut advantage when it comes to the turtle fight? Because I feel like that is what both these teams are waiting for. Get a level 4, try to get a turtle fight, because as of right now, up in the EXP lane, it looks like Soto is having a little bit of a rough time going up against this Dairov coming in from JZ Bin.
Yep, I definitely agree. Meanwhile, on the bottom side as well, Gonzalez, he is playing the safe approach as well with Distant, going to be able to win on the trade-off against this harassment. But now with the Koopa down in the equation, I like how Team Laos is trying to secure the farm and win this lane, whereas Team Philippines is just looking to react to this. So it's going to be a defensive play, but they are not going to be able to do too much coming from Team Laos with this push down, rotation down bottom.
Yeah, I want to see Team Laos actually winning more on the
look at this.
on the lanes. And right now,
this is big.
Yes, Barat is pretty big going up, and right now Soto is engaging, but it looks like the Barats will not have that big of an issue. Will Philippines actually commit for this turtle or not?
Yeah, seems like they might consider as well. There's going to be a 4v4 fight straight up from the get-go. Who's going to get the turtle? It seems like that is going to be Del Rosario securing him in the vicinity, but there's no transition as Team Laos completely goes in for the reset and retreats. All right.
yeah, we have to see where Philippines, they know when they want to go in. For Laos, they're still considering whether they want to or not. And something interesting here to point out is that the Colorado, before that, we look at Soto over there in the top side. There's nowhere for him to go. And first blood goes over to the Philippines.
Yeah, that's going to be a good takeoff coming from Team Philippines to go in for the fight. Meanwhile, bottom side as well, Team Laos, they are going to be occupied on trying to secure the farm on towards Viston. Meanwhile, the invades are coming in from Team Philippines to deny resources of jungles away from Team Laos.
Right now, for the side of Philippines, again, I just feel like they're just waiting. They're just waiting for Laos to actually overextend, because as of right now, Philippines, they don't mind waiting for a bit. And right now, they see that something is going on in the orange buff area, and they're considering whether they want to commit or not. It looks like, you know what, it's not really worth it. It's just an orange buff. We have 1-2.
Yep, the clock of destiny. Very early one coming from Imam as well. It's only 3 minutes in the game, and right for the get-go, this is going to give him an early stack to actually scale a little bit more. Coming with the Xavier, seems like they are going to be experimenting with their Xavier as well after being thrown in their face time and time again when they're matched up against Team Malaysia earlier today. Here comes starting like, oh my goodness, that's a big boy damage coming from Imam.
That is a lot of damage. I feel like he just wanted to help clear the minion, and then he did a little bit more. That's an overachiever. Nomen Blast managing to hit on to the Franco. And right now, Real Woman Militia has been activated, and right now, Team Philippines, they're trying to go away, but one by one, they're getting pushed out. Del Rosario managing to survive just with, I would say, non-existent health. I did not see any HP on that bar just now.
Just one auto attack. Del Rosario was able to escape it all, but in the midst of this confusion as well, even though there was trades after trades, Team Laos, they're faring pretty okay in terms of economy. And look at this. Looks like they are going to be focusing on the harassment. The Team Philippines looking to concede the turtle just because Del Rosario was bullied out of the situation. But once again, Team Philippines, they're going for the reset. It seems like they are going to try and solve this game a little bit longer just because they need some more items on Imam.
Yeah, Gonzalez has to be careful just because we can see the Franco kinda likes being down here, likes to be on the gold lane side, and he probably understands what's going on. That's why he keeps using his blazing duet just to clear the minions, and then, you know, I'm just gonna back off. I'm just gonna go home. And right now on the top side, we're looking at this Dairov against Esmeralda matchup, and Dairov is looking very happy. I can see the smile on his face.
Yeah, it's pretty clear cut as well. The Dairov is going to be able to win the matchup as well. Considering that going for the Festival of Blood means they is going to go for a little bit more in a sustained division coming in from J4Z Finn. But as of yet, it's this. You know, despite all the trades here, it seems like Team Philippines, they don't really care about winning the early engagements. It's more about trading 50-50s as long as they can, and eventually, in terms of scaling, they do scale a little bit harder compared to Laos, just because of what the Karina can bring to the table, the Claw can bring to the table, as well as the Xavier. So it's not taking any unnecessary risk, but guess what? Viston is going to be forcing the issue as he gets a nice kill on those Gonzalez. Meanwhile, the rest of the teams here comes the spread and the Daytona Smoker from Lexi, looking for the play. The Numen Blast connects on two, but Imam is trying his best to poke his way through, but Del Rosario, despite being bit off, chewed and spat out, he was able to come over alive with 1 HP.
How did he survive that? Okay, that was amazing, but I do have to say, I like what Team Laos is doing right now. They're making sure that they win the EXP as well as the gold lane. 1v1, no problem, you know? J4ZB, he has this under the back. He has one itemization, 100 strike over there. He has enough penetration to go up against the Esmeralda. They just want to make sure that in terms of gold lane, they can win. So they put 3, sometimes even 4 people down in the gold lane just to make sure that Gonzalez has a very, very difficult time to farm. But with that being said, he already has his D100 sword. So he's not really being slowed down that much. He's still in a good enough position.
Agreed, but as of here, you can see too easy for Alexi. He's forced to start the turtle to try and build up his tech and sustain it while trying to force Team Philippines to a fight. Well, the Rosario playing it safe. Nano going for the hook, gonna miss his mark as well. But looks like the Lord is gonna be in the hands of Laos, and now with the fight coming in, the Rosario is gonna be bit off and isolated from right. A big Numen Blast comes in, but where's the follow-up? Here comes the blazing duet, but seems like Team Laos a little bit too tanky to pick the fight. But no, the Dawning Light gets cancelled by the iron hook, but it's all good, my friend. Here it comes. Imam connects the dot, and Soto will receive the rebound, goes in for the dunk, gets a kill. And Team Laos seems to be losing a little bit too much, more than expected. But as of yet, Team Laos, they're forced to go for the full retreat despite those trades.
We can see that for both sides of the team, all the athletes here, they kind of want to take a little bit more. They're like, you have little HP. I just really want to go in front. I just want to do a little bit more basic attack damage, but they understand the stakes are high, so better not. And right now we can see the 1v2. No problem for Dairo managing to actually get the Esmeralda. Almost getting a double kill with that. That is actually very, very impressive coming in from the side of Laos. Very, very good Dairo play from J4ZWin.
Agreed. Now, Team Philippines, they are going to struggle a little bit more. Real Mission comes in from the side, also Zo to fight his way through. Well, Luna blocking as much as she can, but unfortunately will get chipped away from the Demon Blast. Not going to do too much. Vincent, however, will survive towards last HP. Rosario thinking about going for the chase, but instead is a little bit afraid of what Nanoship is going to do to him. Jasmine going for the fight. Here comes the Dirov, getting a little bit scary. But seems like Philippines, they are going to back off and not overextend this play. However, bottom side, here comes the catch. Gonzalez actually getting chewed by too easy for Lexi. It seems like a little bit of adaptation, a little bit of a hero switch. Team Laos, they are looking stronger than ever.
And look at the items coming in for the side of Farad. He has the Brute Force breastplate, so every single time he attacks, he's going to get a little bit more tanky. And then with the Sky Garden helmet, whenever he just walks around, he gets a lot of regen. But once he uses Daytona Welcome, which has more regen, it's going to be even more insane. And right now we can see that the team fight on the mid side, they want to secure this mid. Laos is able to get it. Bill Luna with very, very low HP, but already having the immortality, Laos are just going to be like, we have what we wanted, and let's just back off. Very good discipline coming in from the national team of Laos.
Yep, I definitely agree. A much better performance compared to the previous ones, but as of yet, they're doing fantastically well to scale his way through. Meanwhile, in Philippines, you can see Gonzalez is struggling to get some sort of farm, however, is getting a lot of space down bottom. Meanwhile, Team Philippines is going to try and stall up some time down towards the Lord Pit. As of yet, Team Laos, do they want to fight? It seems like they want to, but I don't think they can afford to, just because of the lanes being shoved down to the bottom side. And now Team Philippines, they're looking to force an issue.
Yeah, we can see how Team Laos, just as what you said, Terrence, they want to look for a fight. They're just not sure what angle is the best. Nanoship is just trying to get an iron hook. He just doesn't matter who. And Gonzalez goes in using the blazing duet, but not hitting any targets. And that is a big ultimate down coming in from the side of Philippines. Laos, if they want, they can take advantage of it. But right now, Philippines, they have to be careful because the Dairov can't actually deal with the Esmeralda. A lot of visibility is going on. And on the backside, we can see Real Manipulation has been opened up by the side of Laos, but no one really caught up in it. Looks like the team fight is going nowhere.
Yep, here we go again as well. Major ultimate has been expanded. Team Philippines, they're very happy on the situation. They want to re-engage and punish this, and they are going to look to pop the fight. But guess what? Villa Luna with a big Nomenon blast connects us. So here comes the dawning light from Aimar to scare him off. But wow, the rest of the team from Team Philippines is going to be chipping his way. But here comes the hook from Team Laos. Catches El Rosario, takes them out. They trade jungle for jungle, but Soto is going to be the next to fall because J4Z Bid is here to party with the Dara.
Yeah, Laos looking so good right now, especially with winning the side lanes. I feel like the biggest threat for the side of Philippines is really this Dairov, just because you kind of don't want him to join the team fight, but at the same time, he's not in the team fight, he's pushing. And then when he's pushing, as of right now, no one is really able to deal with him because Esmeralda has tried and has not succeeded.
Yeah. It's going to be a little bit difficult to actually deal with the Derov. It's going to take a little bit more time, especially coming from Gonzalez when he's playing as God. And because once he actually gets his items, and alongside with Mom, I don't think the Derov will be a big threat. It's more on going for those execution plays. But as you can see, Team Philippines, they are going to try and make an issue as well. Nanoship Tries to go for the hook. Unfortunately, not going to be able to connect. So it's going to be a little bit more trading in terms of economy. Even though Philippines is losing out a little bit more, they're trying their best to salvage the XP, salvage the economy to try and scale in towards the ultra late stage of the game.
Yeah, and we do have to pay attention above, and we will get an engagement coming in from both teams. Gonzalez tried to chip out as many damage as he can, but he is not able to actually get any kills. And Daryl in the back, they try to kill someone, and he manages in the front line. Soto trying to get onto Bisson, but Bisson still survives. Looks like both of the teams, they're playing front and back, but everyone is all over the place. Gonzalez still has a lot of HP there. Overall, good kiting from him, but this fight is not going anywhere else. But overall, good performance from Gonzalez, managing to actually dish out damage and still able to cut a lot coming in from Laos.
Yeah, J4Z been just doing an absolute amazing job in cutting the back lines. He's found multiple instances as well to make sure that either Rosario or Imam is going to have a very, very difficult time, because once these two get taken out of the equation, the team fights will swing in their favor. And he's been hard targeting Imam for a very good number of reasons. But as of yet, based on the itemizations, as of yet, Imam is looking for that big Divine Clays purchase. And once that's up, Team Laos, they've got to be very careful.
Yeah, Team Laos, they have to be careful. They have a lot of ways to really set up a team fight, especially when the real world manipulation is up. It makes it a little bit easier for Nanoshift to actually hit his Iron Host just because everyone is slowed down. Same thing with Too Easy for Lexi. He can use his Daytona Welcome to actually catch anyone. They just have to be careful who they're going to catch, because looking at Gonzalez, he can, dash away. He can trade places with Dexter with the Battle Mirror image. So try to pick your targets as best as you can. As of right now, Laos as well as Philippines, they're slowing down the game, and this is why I say the dialogue is a problem. Just because Philippines, they're not sure. Do they want to put more people on the side lanes, or do they want to go for this team fight? Right now, Laos, they have an advantage. They're gonna start the Lord up here.
Yeah, it seems like that is going to be the Blinker forward, coming from Nanoshift to try and pick it. Gonzalez going for the blink to duet as well. Trying going for the fight. He jumps in down. That's going to be too easy for Lexi. Going out of equation, but the Lord down towards half HP. But the reset is going to keep him alive, because that is going to be a triple kill coming from Del Rosario as he cleans out the back lines. A new number of blast is going to keep Bisson in check, as now Del Rosario has survived to live to tell the tale. But J4Z been getting hunted down like a mad dog he is, and that is going to be Team Philippines cutting them all out and leaving Bisson alive, and that is going to be the easy Lord take up for Team Philippines.
I don't understand how Del Rosario does it. He just dances all around. Like, he understands, like, you want me. I just got a triple kill. You probably think I want a maniac. I do. But I'm gonna run away from you first. Very good performance coming in from J4Z Bin, but I would say better execution, and again, just like you say, trigger finger. I like that word. I'm going to keep using it after this.
Agreed, but 60% of the health being chunked up from one dawning light coming from Imam on towards Biston. As you can see, based on the items as well, he doesn't have a lot of defensive maneuvers, so that means one full combo coming from Imam is going to be able to shut him down. So this is going to be a very difficult situation, but hopefully they are going to be able to scale a little bit more. But let's take a look at items real quick coming in from Del Rosario as well. Almost nearly full items as well.
Yeah, just waiting on one immortality, and then probably gonna finish off with his cursed helmet. As of right now, inside the Philippines, they're looking very strong. They're looking very good. Right now, the Lord just secured a turret for them. Whether they want to engage or not, and looking at Gonzalez, he looks like he wants to go in. Real manipulation has been opened up. Too easy. Lexi took too much damage, and look at that dawning light. Philippines right now, they're going in alongside with the Lord. They're pushing hard on the bottom turret. And we can see how Daryl tries to fight back. An amazing hook. Pulling back, but he dies first. Gonzalez staying in the back line, dealing out a lot of damage. They're going to focus on the Crystal, and the Crystal is going to go down. First game going over for the side of Philippines.
Very, very convincing game coming from the Philippines as well. It's all about hitting those timings, and they have done it very, very convincingly coming from Team Philippines. Another point in the hands of Philippines so far in all the matches they have gone. Very, very dominant force indeed.
We do have to look at patterns though, because even against Malaysia, in the early stages of the game, they actually let the enemy team take advantage. I wouldn't say let. but it becomes a situation where in the early stages of the game, not often do they get a lot of punishing plays from the enemy team. But once they have the items that they desire, once they have the levels that they need, once their ultimate has 3 stacks on it, they can do a lot. They can do a lot in the mid and late stages of the game. So I feel like if you're able to push Philippines far enough in the early stages of the game, you might have a chance.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's all about timing. And so far, Team Philippines has been really, really smart in their decision making. Play safe, play slow. There's no point taking unnecessary risks early stage of the game. Drag it towards our timings, and we will eventually outscale them. And you can see time and time again on how they prioritize on getting those farms. The moment the Xavier got the Divine Glaive, you could see how Team Philippines is looking to close out games. They know this is their power spike. It's go time. Similar to the Cloud as well, saving very, very patiently with the stacks and then going for the boys with that. You could see that there was absolutely nothing Team Laos could have done ever since the Lord pushed back into a 7.
I have to highlight the mechanical plays coming in from Gonzalez as well as Del Rosario, where plenty of times we see them running away with virtually no HP. That is the main factor that you want to see coming in from your main damage dealers, from your carries. Yes, want to deal a lot of damage, but your number one thing that you have to do is to not die. And I feel like they did that very, very well. Both Gonzalez as well as Del Rosario, they played super well. Even when they engage, even when they take a lot of damage, they don't die. Especially the one time where the Karina got chain CC'd by the Franco and then by the Barras and still survived. How?
Yeah, logically, it's just not possible.
Logic is overrated.
That's the beauty of setups as well, and the beauty of Tank Arena. You can get away with a lot of situations, but of course, we are going to be taking the highlights later on. But before that, let's take a look at the items real quick of how it all happened between the players themselves. But what I do know is that when Adel Rosario got his curse, I would say the Molten Essence and Intuit this guy got an helmet, he was very, very tanky. But what I really like about his adaptation is that instead of going for the full curse helmet, you take the Molten Essence just for the wave clear in terms of AoE damage. You also get a little bit on the Dreadnought armor to tank through all those stuns coming in from the barrage. But you know, remind you as well, the MVP from that match is going to be Imam playing on the Xavier with a very, very early Clock of Destiny to kick things off to scare off the forces of Team Laos.
Not to mention 93% kill participation. Only 7% of the fight he was not involved in. And I feel like those are the situations where it was just a 1v1. A 1v1 kill or anything, but that's the only part where he was not involved with. I like that you mentioned that he actually got the Clock of Destiny very, very early on. So we can see that from the side of Philippines, all of the athletes, they understand the optimum way to get as much experience as well as gold as they can. And again, this is one of those crazy things, crazy feats, where Del Rosario, virtually no HP, still able to survive, showing that he has, I would say, the highest knowledge or understanding of how much this hero can take damage and how much he can deal damage.
Yeah, you can see as well a lot of times, even this Dawning Light, they didn't exactly connect, but ever since he has the mana, he pops it out, everyone was gonna get completely obliterated. So well done coming in from them, but at the same time, what I really want to talk about is the positioning of Villa Luna's Numinon Blast. Whenever Villa Luna's hides in the bush, he sets up Numinon Blast. I think time and time again, even here, Team Laos, they weren't expecting it to hit pretty hard. They don't understand the value of the Numinon Blast. It's not being used to actually set up for a stun. It's used for that slight slow for the team to actually set up for the next play. So it's really, really interesting adaptations coming in, but it worked in their favor from Team Philippines.
Yeah, but either way, Laos played an amazing game this one because, again, I like how they won the EXP lane as well as the gold lane. They have a very, very clear idea of how they want to face against Team Philippines. And I would say it worked. Legitimately, it worked. It's just that they did not have enough damage to actually take down the Karina as well as the Claw. The Claw is very, very difficult just because he's very, very slippery. If you manage to catch the Claw, I'm very, very confident they have enough damage for it. But again, they try. They really, really try. It's just that Philippines, they understand. These are the two targets that you guys want, right? Yeah, we're not going to give it to you.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think Karina was something that they had a really, really good idea of just shutting down, right? We saw time and time again, Team Laos, they were just cutting them out, picking them off bit by bit. But eventually, the moment Rosario was able to get like a little bit more items to sustain his way through, if you think about it, Team Laos doesn't exactly have a lot of damage to actually chunk through the defense coming in. Eve arguably does go through the defense of the Shadow Dance, but aside from that, it's not a bursty style mage like heroes like Bale, heroes like Eudora, or maybe even a Farsa to a certain degree. Didn't exactly help too much. With the Radiant Armor, absolutely nothing you can do. Franco's out is great. You can have the lockdown, but there needs to be some sort of follow-up. Popo Koopa was arguably an okay solution, but considering the circumstances they were in, they needed a little bit more. Like, I feel like the Barat's play from Laos was good, but it needs to be for them to snowball out of control to completely deny Team Philippines any sort of comebacks or flanking potential.
Yeah, and this is where, you know, my professional opinion comes in, where Laos, this is something that I talked about before in their previous series, where they do not focus on one target at a time, where, all right, we can see that they got the Karina, but then certain members of the team, they spread out their damage, hitting this person a little bit here, this person a little bit here. I feel like if everyone just focus everything they have on Karina first, and then it's like, okay, what's next? What's next? Even if you focus on Villa Luna is a tank, not the best idea. But if everyone's on the same page, all right, just focus on one person and then move on baby steps. I see maybe 1-2 steps. You know, I feel like if they take that approach, they could have cleaned it up a little bit better.
Agreed. But as of now as well, I have to give a very, very commendable shout out towards J4Z Bin, because his Dira was
amazing.
He did the best of his abilities as well. He was able to isolate a lot of fights, making sure that the backlines didn't exactly go too much into its Philippines' favor, because if he did not make the play, things would have went way much more one-sided. So I would say it's a commendable approach, but so far 3 games coming from Laos, I've seen adaptations, I've seen their improvements. It's good, but is it enough to keep things alive, to actually make it to the next stage? Because right now, they're 3 points down, and they have not gotten a single point. If they get a win in the next stage, and they get a 2-0 against their matchup against Malaysia by the end of the day, they have a pretty decent chance to make it into the final stages.
And right now, I would say that they're looking very good against Philippines, because in a way they have this warm-up momentum. I'm not saying they were warming up against the previous team. It's just that the more you play, the more you get better. The more you get comfortable, right? And
it's all about the momentum, the morale.
Because I feel like this is one of the things that we do talk about behind the scenes every so often. Is like, is it better to just play straight games where you're just like, okay, I'm ready, you know, I have the momentum, or playing the games, getting a very long break, just like Philippines having a long break, watching Myanmar going up against Laos and then coming back. You know, it might like cool you down a bit, but either way, I understand where we're coming from. Right now, Laos is in a very tight spot. Very tight spot.
Yeah, I believe it's all part and process when it comes to practice and endurance, right? Waiting is part of it as well. Studying your opponent already is another way of practice as well. So I would say resting has its great moments of just allowing you to analyze what's going on, take a deep breather and relax. And as you can see, discussion has been made. Even though they had a very smooth sailing game, they are also preparing to make sure that they can convincingly take a clean 2-0 to pretty much solidify their top 2 spots for the last stage, especially covering for Team Philippines.
And we can see how Villa Luna is really talking to all of the athletes from Philippines, saying what they should have done different, or is telling them what are they going to do next. Because part of the play is the mental game, trying to guess what your opponent is going to do, what are going to be their picks, what are the rotation that they're going to do. And right now, same thing from Laos. I feel like even the coach understood, like, the game plan was actually very good. The game plan was very good. It's just that the prioritization of the heroes, and we can see the desperation of seeing the Karina with very, very low HP, trying to get her. She managed to go away, and then you trading your own life. Just small mistakes there.
Yeah, this is a moment to be remembered, right? In every single team, this is going to be a last hoo-ha battle. Because if on Team Laos, they may have lost a lot of fight, you cannot have your spirits down and morale. You can see the coach just constantly driving them, saying, hey, it's not over yet. You have improved. All you got to do is win this one game and then figure out the rest for the end of the day, because it is going to be a long day. They are going to be playing the final batch of today's series. If they get the 1-1 tie against Philippines, they stand a decent shot at making it towards tomorrow's the final stages into the top 4 for the SEAGAMES itself.
I would say if Laos gets 1 point onto Philippines, I would guess that Group A might be the group where there's no definitive number 1 spot. You know, like everyone will lose to someone.
Eventually.
That's what I'm seeing in my head. But either way, right now we can see the players have finished discussing, and right now they're moving towards the stage. They're getting ready, and I wonder, Laos, they've changed their strategy 3 times now. Do they have a 4th strategy against Philippines?
Well, they have demonstrated that they are very, very flexible and able to adapt on the fly. It's all about a learning process. Even though they may not have the most competitive experience compared to the other regions, they do take this as a learning process for them to progress further. And I feel like this is part and parcel for you to grow as a player in general, to get better. So I'm looking forward to see whether or not can they adapt. They're ready to rumble, and Team Philippines, I don't know, can anyone stop them at this stage?
I feel like at this point, they just have to understand how Philippines play in the mid and late stages of the game. Once they crack that code, then they can win against Philippines. Until then, I feel like Philippines themselves, they will keep adapting. They'll keep adapting what the enemy is trying to do, trying to figure out what they're trying to make sure that the Philippines cannot execute, and then they can just play around it. Because again, this team is very, very experienced. The athletes that we have here is the best of the best coming in from the side of Philippines. But overall, going into game number 2, for anyone that just came in, this is a best of 2 format. Right now, you guys are watching the match between Laos going up against Philippines, where Philippines just won their first game against Laos, and right now we are getting ready for the second game, where Laos, every single game that they play, they keep getting better. I feel like that's why Philippines, they're on their toes as well.
Yeah. I definitely agree, because it feels like they weren't expecting the game to be rather close, as well as the early phase to be losing out a lot. And it seems like Team Philippines, even though they have been winning all the 3 games so far, it feels like it wasn't exactly cleanly executed according to plan, because they were losing out a lot in the early stage of the game, where they had to find an opportunity of a mistake to capitalize on the victory. Especially if you think about it, their match against Team Malaysia wasn't exactly clean. A win is still a win, but it wasn't the cleanest, because eventually heading into the final stage and then taking the championship title is the goal. So now they have to re-improve themselves. They are learning on the fly. They are getting back into the competitive spirit, especially coming from Bella Luna as well as Vi in that vicinity. So it's something that I think everyone is taking advantage of the current situation to play the game.
Yeah, that is a very interesting point. Even though Philippines have won every single game, it looks like every single game they're being pushed into a corner, and then they have to fight back out. For Team Laos as well as Team Philippines, we're 1 minute to the draft. And looking at the draft, in terms of the bans, I'm not looking at too much of a difference, unless Laos is really trying to switch things up by letting a lot of heroes go. But I would argue that's a little bit too risky. That's a little bit like they just let go of Karina, which we have not seen, but has not been first pick, and then given to the side of Philippines. You can see that it's a little bit too much for you to handle. So I feel like the bans should be kept as standard. It's just that the heroes that they prioritize is going to be a little bit different.
Yeah, you can see the drafts are on its way. The teams are already into the couple phase as well. I'm looking forward to see how it all goes down, especially when it comes to Team Philippines. It's going to be on the blue side this time. I believe so. Yeah. I believe to be on the blue side, but if we were to judge based on the perspective of the phone, we're always going to be on the blue side, regardless whether we're red or blue.
Unfortunately, I am colorblind, so I'm not too sure. No, I am. Anyways,
okay.
right now, we have gone into the pick and ban, and Laos will be the first pick, Philippines will be the second pick. And in terms of the ban, we're going to say the same thing. So if you guys didn't have missed the previous matches,
Among the planes,
only it has been the new one on the ban list for Laos.
Well, wow, that's okay. I can respect that. That's something that they've got to go. Philippines is going to be banning off Franco this time. We did see this happen during their matchup against Team Malaysia by the end of the day. You could see how annoying the Franco was and how terrorizing it is. But guess what? One of the OP ones, the most banned hero so far in today's SEAGAMES dates, it is going to be the 1-1 being first pick from Sire Lao.
Yeah, I was about to say, because there was no hesitation at all.
Yeah.
The moment Philippines banned on the Franco, it's like, they're just like spamming it. They were kind of like hoping it's like, they're going to let go of 1-1, they're going to let go of 1-1, and then 1-1 has been picked. 1-1 is one of those heroes where it's so annoying for me personally, because it's like, I want to gank 1-1, but why did I die? He's one of those heroes that can turn things around just because you have that purify, that built-in purify in your second skill, as well as you have a stun. The Philippines right now, they're flexing the Grok, and they managed to secure the Xavier, which again can get his farm very, very fast. And then we have to see whether this Grok is going over to the XP lane or the roamer position.
I'm a little bit surprised with the Grok pickup in terms of switch up for Team Philippines, but I guess it makes a lot of sense. I was expecting to see maybe the Esmeralda pickup just because of a potential Fovius denial, but at the same time, I feel like they want to keep it up on the opens to actually deal with it. But of course, knowing that both teams do have the tendency to go for Esmeralda, Team Laos, they are going to be opting to preemptively pick the Zero, which was an okay, I would say a comfortable pick coming from Team Laos, especially from J4Z Bid, based on his performance for the past 2 games.
I feel like that is why Philippines was hesitant to actually pick up the Esmeralda, because I'm pretty sure like the coach was asking like, so how was the fight against Tyrell? And then it's like,
didn't exactly go too well.
It was not good. It's like, so do you want to use Esmeralda again? It's like, I'm open to suggestions. So I feel like that's why they're really delaying. And right now, Philippines, they're bringing in the signature Estes pick. So yeah, they're bringing their A game. Philippines is bringing their A game.
I did not expect this at all. Like, okay, Team Philippines, they're going all out. I know the Grok wasn't exactly the happiest, the greatest of heroes actually deal with the D-Rock, but with its Estes heal, you know what? It's all good. I don't really care about the box here. Even with the crossbow tanks, the heals coming in. The Estes is going to be at one point able to out heal all the damage coming from 1-1, rendering the 1-1's crossbow tanks completely useless.
Yeah, right now, Laos, I feel like they have no choice but to put Baxia on the jungler side. I feel like a lot of people did expect for Laos to put the Baxia into the jungle, but just in case if they're like, maybe we can flex this, maybe we can put it on the room, but right now it's like, no. You need a tanky hero in the jungle, because imagine an Estes with a very aggressive jungler going in, because Delta Cerrillo, he played Barat before. I believe it was during M3, and it was actually very, very good as well. So pairing that with an Estes, your Barat is going to be
unkillable.
Unkillable.
At one point it was like
the dinosaur will not be extinct.
Wow, okay, great reference. But at the same time, I feel like a Rafaela is also not too bad as well, just because it does give the Barat a little more mobility. But Estes kind of works same in the sense where he's going to be able to slow the enemy for the Barat rather than give Barat the movement speed. So overall, in general, I can see where you're going at as well. It's something that Team Philippines has kind of showed before in the past. But Team Laos, are they going to let it slide? That's my question. Are they going to let the Barat slide? Or are they just going to completely ignore it and maybe assume that there is going to be a potential Fovius to deal with the 1-1, even though I may not necessarily like the force pick Fovius just for the 1-1 from Team Philippines?
another thing that you have to put into consideration, because in terms of jugglers, yeah, sure, Bharat, but there's also Karina, and then there's also Balmain. So there's a lot of tanky heroes that work well with Estes. So this Estes third pick just put Laos on a situation where it's gonna be different. So
It's our show.
Your team is
just ban on the
picking.
quad.
Okay,
Probably the safest
Here,
one.
here comes the question. Is this going to be an Aegis Estes or is it going to be a sprint Estes up on Villa Luna?
Villa Luna prefers using like a sprint or a flicker. I feel like a situation where he would use the Aegis if he looks at a situation where there's not a situation where he has to.
Enters the scene.
Your team
There
is
is not a
picking.
situation where he has to protect himself. Because I feel like the Aegis is good to protect his teammates, but yes, the Akai pick, which again, that was did pretty well on the Akai.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job, but the game with Team Malaysia was so long to a point that it worked, but it was very, very difficult to pull off. And yeah, I like how Team Philippines, they're challenging the boundaries. They're breaking the limit to actually try to, try something new. And I'm all up for it as well, because I've talked about the jungle tank for a very, very long time, and Team Philippines is just going all in with it.
Right, I feel like it's good. I feel like it's good. I legit feel like it's good, because I feel like Akai actually does quite a significant amount of damage. And right now, Team Laos bringing in the Kagura. We have not seen Kagura today, and then they're gonna bring in the Bharat. So question time.
Roaming Baxia jungle barrage from Laos. Team Laos.
Yeah, I did say that they probably have the idea of putting Bharat as the roam because of current situations. Like, okay, they have to put in jungle, but yeah, Bharat is very tanky.
Yeah,
You know,
Team Philippines is got the perfect marksman right now. It's like
Carry
is like the most amazing hero, just chunking through Baxia as well as the barrage. But at the same time, it's all, if they go for the carry, it's more like, I think Team Laos has a way to deal with it, right? Like, Dirok can one-shot the carry. 1-1 is a great matchup to carry.
No
Carry, no problemo. Team Philippines gonna go in for the Paquito. So that is gonna be a jungle Akai?
No, right? Okay.
Paquito.
Look, I don't know, but right now Philippines is saying, like, we just want to fight. You guys just played 3 games in a row. This 4th game, we will not give you the luxury to actually recover. They're just gonna go in one. They're just gonna put constant pressure, because if they wait too long, it's gonna be very difficult, because they don't have a long-range physical damage hero to actually push the tower. So they have to end this very, very quickly.
Yep.
They have to end this very quickly.
Yep, they cannot drag this as long as they can, and so far, Team Philippines, they have been able to drag out all the games every single time, and this is just really, really difficult. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, this is going to be the second game of the third series for today, for the 31st SEA Games of the Mobile Legends division, currently happening in Vietnam. Philippines versus Laos, and as you can see, it is going to be the jungle Akai with Soto playing on the XP lane for the Paquito. Wow, Gonzalez going to be on the gold lane with the Grog. All right.
I mean, he's using a marksman emblem.
Technically, that's the meta-ish for Grog now, right?
Exactly. So that's why, right? It's the marksman emblem, so it makes sense. But other than that, Gonzalez will actually scale very, very well.
He's gonna die.
Well, we have.
Yeah,
to
I
see.
think he's dead. Yeah, he's actually. Okay. He's scared. All right, I didn't expect that, but all right.
Okay, you know what? I kind of feel like they could have just forced it. But good respect coming in from the side of Laos, but right now Soso is in the mid lane and he's taking a lot of damage, and first blood is going over to the Philippines.
Wow, that is huge coming from Iman. This is going to give him a little more economy to actually build that early Crown of Destiny, which we see in game number 1 against Laos. So it's something that's okay, but however, on the top side, Gonzalez not having an okay game at all, completely bullied out of the lane and XP twice now, calling in Villa Luna with the assist, but this time with the assist heals is going to be a-okay, but the harassment from this Baxia is just negating so much of this heals, and very, very risky territory coming from Team Philippines, but Team Laos looks like they are going to back off, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like if Biston had level 4, he might not even hesitate. He's just like,
yeah,
you know what?
for sure.
I'm just gonna go in. I'm just gonna go in. So I'm waiting for that level 4. Right now, looking at the bottom side, Soto is going to get his level 4, but there's 2 people here. Soto as well as the Dire also going in. They're taking 2v1, but Soto is actually looking very good. He actually was able to chunk out a little bit from Jason Bin, but either ways, Laos just secured their own turtle.
Again, seems to be a repetitive trend coming from Team Philippines as well as Laos, as they completely ignored the early phase of the game. Dawning Light comes in for Imam. It's not going to do a little bit too much damage, as Nano is going to be forced to reset the away, as he is going to be recalling back into his base. Meanwhile, Team Laos, they do have the upper hand in terms of the buff. Are they going to scale? Absolutely not. It seems like Philippines are just playing safe, getting their XP, and then, hope to pick a fight later on.
Yeah, and right now, if we look at the gold, it's heavily favored on the side of Laos, but it's mostly just because Gonzalez has been missing some farm, just because Biston have been just harassing him over and over again. I'm actually surprised he has not died yet, because I feel like he cheated death so many times.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But based on the items here, Arkai going to be going for a very, very early Molten Answers. I think he is going to be going for the Sky Gun later on. But eventually somebody's got to stop Viston. Here, a big Dawning Light just scaring Viston, helping Gonzalez a little bit more in the lanes. But I feel like this is very, very difficult to play. Corrosion time already up on Viston means that there is going to be a lot of 1v1 action later on.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for Gonzalez to be like, I have enough damage, and he's just going to flicker and just use his wall charge. But anyway, both of the teams are playing a little bit slow right now, not looking to get any crazy pickoffs, not trying to force any kind of situations, even though the Philippines did get the first blood, but that was minutes ago. Right now, the turtle will spawn very, very soon on the bottom side of the map. We have to see whether the side of Philippines or Laos is looking to actually capitalize on that. For now, Laos, they've been on top of the turtle, and Philippines have not really put so much priority on that target specifically.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Meanwhile, now as of yet, as you can see, Team Philippines, they are gonna play this a little bit slow, but finally Del Rosario will make the move to contest for the second turtle. But Team Laos, they're ready to party as well. He does have the Hurricane Dance destroy. He's going for the zone, but the Tortoise Plus from the box is gonna scare him off. Then Rosario will steal the turtle away, immediately going for the Hurricane Dance. As you can see, Exo so needs to run for his dear life and gets fully down. That's gonna be a good, easy pick. While the rest of the members coming from Team Laos, who's trying to regroup to save his teammates, get slowly chipped away at the members from Philippines. As you can see, they will lose 2 members in contrast to absolutely no trades.
Yeah, I'm guessing Philippines, they were just waiting for that one item or just to get to a certain level, and then they're gonna push their advantage, because we can see how Villa Luna, he got his ultimate. He's like, you know what, let's fight for this, and then they managed to get 2 kills off of that, and then the pause is gonna come in. As of right now, for the side of Philippines and for the side of Laos, both of these teams are playing at a slower pace kind of style, where for the side of Philippines, I did expect a little bit more aggression, but I'm guessing just because the Grok is having such a difficult time up at top lane in the gold side, it makes it difficult for them to actually push too hard, because the SS doesn't have that much of a choice, having to actually go and make sure that the Grok survives. So yeah.
Yeah, I get it, considering the amount of the lanes as well. I believe that right now, even though Team Philippines, they have a little bit of small victory, right? They need to get a little bit more, considering that if this game goes a little bit too long, the 1-1 is just going to go absolutely out of control. Team Laos, they are going to come on top in every single fight if they do not figure out a way to kill with the 1-1. And I get it. It's very, very difficult to actually deal with the situation, right? If it makes sense, like, Grok has the one-shot potential onto us 1-1, but the problem is that there's an instant free purify on the 1-1. If you do not get the combo in, the 1-1 is just gonna go out, easily proc the crossbow attack, and then just one-shot you, or potentially even just chain CC and run away.
Even if 1-1 just has 1 HP left, because again, there's only 3 stacks of the weakness stack. So once all weakness stacks is gone, and then she goes up in the air, and then presses her spell, inspire. So the damage is going to be crazy. The healing is going to be crazy as well. Exactly. So that becomes into a point where, like, guys, legit, I tried. But there's a reason why this hero keeps getting banned.
Yeah, it's not an easy hero to actually counter as well.
It's not a fun hero to play against.
Yeah, it's not it's a fun hero to play, and
but not against.
Yeah, I definitely agree as well. And you can see the hesitations as well coming from Team Philippines to pick a different marksman, right? Because logically, there's not a lot of marksmen that could potentially one-shot 1-1. They opted to go for Paquito, a safer choice, just because if they sing the combo with the Grok and the Paquito in time, they can technically just one-shot this 1-1.
Yeah, I feel like traditionally how people used to face against this very oppressive marksman, doesn't matter if it's 1-1 or anyone else, it's just to put a burst mage on the gold lane, like before people use a Farsa, so just get the stun and then just deal your damage. Like, make sure you just outrange the marksman. That's the whole basis of the idea. Putting Cecile in there, outrange, because going up against a 1-1 where she wants to get weakness tag, and then you using a melee hero, it's kind of easy for her to actually get all of it. But if you're going up against like a Farsa where the range is further than 1-1, potentially you will not necessarily win the lane, but you have an easier kill potential going up against 1-1, even though 1-1 can purify it of your stun and such.
That's the thing, right? It's so difficult. Like, if you're talking about lane matchups, of course, going for heroes with a lot of iframes is amazing. Like Lancelot or Hayabusa, all these are amazing ways to deal across the tanks. However, if it's a team fight, if you go for the brilliance, means your teammates is going to take a little more damage. Sometimes you got to share it a little bit. But without further ado, we're going to be going back in towards the game. And this, you can see, very early purchase of the Blazers where coming from Gonzalez means that the Grok is going to be a little bit more tankier compared to before.
Yeah, I feel like that is... Like, he didn't really have a choice in that situation. It's like, I'm not going to get boots. I'm not going to get anything. Just let me get my Blade of Despair just so that I can handle this 1-1 a little bit better. And then, I don't know, maybe eventually we can see the damage coming in from Imam is actually really strong. Soso has to get away from that situation using the regen pretty early.
Yep, and as you can see, this is going to be a very, very sticky situation. As Team Philippines, they know that their online timing is going to submit to the late stage of the game, where eventually Laos is not going to be able to deal with the STSUs. Even though they've got the box here, they don't technically have enough damage to chain CC every single one unless J4Z Bin is able to consistently dish out a lot of damage. But it looks like the choice for Son is going to be on his way. And look at this, Villaduna doesn't really care.
That's why it's so annoying going up against the Nessus.
Oh, what?
Like, yeah, he got caught, but he got a kill. Before that, we can see that they're trying to lock down Lexi. Lexi is taking a lot of damage and is trying to run away. But Gonzalez is there securing the kill. And look at Imam just getting those stuns, getting those damage out. This is...
Okay.
I did not see that coming, Chance. And they're fighting again. Atlas is there, giving the mega kill over to Imam.
Oh, no.
And they're pushing for mid Philippines. Out of nowhere. They just dealt too much damage and they just recovered so much HP.
Oh my goodness, Imam just catching people left, right, front, and center. And with the Transcendent form, is able to spam consistently as well. And barely 6 minutes into the game, this Xavier's got 4 kills and arguably a very, very early Clock of Destiny. On top of it all, you can start to see the damage is already scaling rather early. Unfortunately, this starting light is not going to be able to hit, so we are not going to be able to see the full strength of how it actually does. But you can see Gonzalez is starting to hit a lot already.
I'm so sorry, but I was so surprised. Like, we saw that the Daytona Broker...
Whoa. Look, Enchanted as well as the Clock of Destiny 7 minutes into this game. That's pretty fast on a Xavier.
No, yeah, that's the mid laner, which you don't always associate having the highest gold per minute.
Yeah, that's scary.
Right now, he has the second highest gold in his team. The highest one is Gonzalez, and he is a gold laner where, you know, the minions give up extra gold. And right now, Donatio is taking a lot of damage. So, Versailles will be like, I'm just so surprised. I did not expect that to happen.
Oh, a Abysm Strike doesn't seem to connect. That is going to be Soto baiting him out. However, Soto, looking for the right opportunity. He can go for the one side, but at the same time, the cancel recall. Oh, Soto was just only clearing the minions. Really unfortunate coming in. from J4Z being top side. However, it's going to be having a little small skirmish. They lose a tier 1. Immediately, Philippines is going to capitalize on this mistake and this position as they go in for the pickoff. They've got one, but guess what? Imam completely took Nano Ships to the moon, bro. And that is going to be Vincent going to be looking for next. The crossbow next comes in, but the Estes Hughes is going to completely mitigate all the damage done.
That was very, very good team fight coordination, where we can see Gonzalez actually creating a wall just for that. Del Torrillo has another angle to use his Hurricane Dance to lock it down too easy for Lexi, because we can see that there was an attempt to use the Daytona's Welcome, but was not being able to execute. Right now, Philippines, we have talked about where in the early stages of the game, they let the enemy team to do whatever they want, but hey, you know what? Introduce the SS in the mix. 8-0. 8 for Philippines. Laos has not secured any kills so far.
Yeah, that is really, really scary now with Del Rosario. Having a brute force breastplate means that it's going to be a little more tankiness coming from Arkai. However, for how long can they out-sustain? Because eventually they need some sort of damage, and I feel like Imam is doing as much as he can, but eventually they need some sort of DPS, which I don't exactly know how Team Philippines is going to do, because eventually you can see J4Z is starting to scale. Lord Mercer came from Philippines, but the Sonic Light completely pushing business out of the initial fight. The Toy Song coming from Nano is going to be there, but the wall block is going to keep him in track, and that is going to be Philippines getting a pick-off.
I think that was a good idea, but wrong execution, where Nanoship, he understands that he has to go to the back line and actually do something, but he is a roamer. He's not a damage dealer. Even if he's there, there's really not much that he